outside and press it. If you don't press it, go ahead.
Singapore Summer Camp 2022.
Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Coaches Dugout podcast, a podcast for coaches by coaches. And this is episode 5 and the final episode of the IFT special, the Individual Football Training Academy special. And for the very first time, I'm very happy and glad that we have the coaches from Portugal, the founding members, here in the studio, because all from episode 1 to 4 they were over there across how many hours difference in Portugal, but today they are here in Singapore and I'm very glad to have them here. Welcome to the Coaches Dugout podcast, Mr. Pedro Royce and Mr. Kiko. I can call you Kiko from now on.
Yes, of course.
How are you, my friends?
I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be here. It's all the time a joy to be here and share our experience.
And speak about football as well, right?
Yes.
How about you, Kiko? How have you been? How has Singapore been so far?
No, first I want to thank you for being here, and it's a pleasure to finally meet you in person.
Yeah.
It's completely different being 7 hours distance.
Yeah, very true. Firstly, what I want to say is, Kiko, your voice over the past couple of days, it's been nearly a week here, right? Actually, it's 1 week already. Your voice, we can already tell the amount of work that you've gone through. And as well as the color, Mr. Pedro, you came here very white when you came here, but now you're a little bit darker.
Yeah. That's. But I stay there in the freezer, so I can come and take this sun.
Yeah?
This sun is hard.
Right. Now, just before we start off, right, Kiko and Pedro, let's say something about the organization of the camp so far, or the program so far here in Singapore. I think it has been very good, well organized, hasn't it been?
Yes, for us.
Yeah.
We have a lot of invisible work that normally the people don't understand how many hours it takes to organize every single detail, because our main goal is to create a huge impact on the players.
Yeah.
In order to accomplish that, there is several little details that altogether need to be very... they need to be in order.
Yeah.
They make all the difference for us as coaches, not to be concerned with those kind of aspects, and we are only focused on the training.
Yeah.
And we have a staff team, incredible staff team that are making an incredible job.
I understand what you say, because as coaches, when you come down here, you don't want to be interested or nothing to do with the other stuff. You just want to get down to business, talk about football, and get on with the drills and what have you. And I totally get that. And because of that, I think we've got to thank the people at IFT Asia, people like Selva, Dashni, Raven, and all these guys. You talk about invisible people, right? I think these guys have made it possible. So thank you very much. Now, let's get stuck in. you've been here and you've taken the first 3 days, and then now you are into the second day of the second so-called program. I want to ask you this, on the very first day when I met you guys here in Singapore, you said this, and I remember it very, very clearly. You insisted that this is not a camp. This is not a summer camp. Tell us why. Pedro.
Yeah, no, this is not a summer camp. A summer camp is to party a little bit, to make some games, to make different sports. This is a program, a elite program for football players, so they can demand from them the best and enjoy learning, but learning the best things, so they can improve really. And it's hard. The intensity is very hard. It's very demanding. In the end, they must improve. In 3 days, they must improve something.
It's a point that I took, and you talk about the intensity part, right? And I want to touch on this because I obviously I'm Singaporean. I've been here, and so often than not, we talk about at every level, right? At youth level, at under 8, under 6, under 12, and then as we go up as well, and even at the highest level, there could be a problem with intensity. And I was at your IFT for the first 3 days, and I see a difference in terms of intensity, right? And it was like that every single time, every single drill, And you want to talk about that, Kiko?
Yes, that is one of the key aspects of the program. Just like Pedro said, we look for this program, not a camp, because the main goal is for the players to leave or to end the program in a much better level. So to accomplish that, it's mandatory since day one or since the minute one that we push our limits all the time. And by pushing ourselves, we will be raising our level step by step. And in order to set up those specific goals, the coach interaction is very important. Little details like the way that I demand from the A player or the B player. If I know and if I feel that he's doing very well in the technical movement, I will push him to do it, to increase the speed, or to react if he loses the ball with more intensity, or even when the moments of the training we need to change exercise. Why in this transition the players need to be doing nothing when we can have a parallel activity in which they can be training and the coach can be setting up the next drill but controlling or with the assistant coach in order they still keep training, keep doing the movements. And with that we are giving them more minutes of training and they are exercising.
What I see is that regardless of how the training methods were, one main focus was by the coaches was to make sure that the boys, or even my son, to be giving maximum effort, even the most basic of drills. And I think that's a good way of ensuring that they gain from whatever was being taught throughout the whole 3 days. With their effort itself, their output will basically be the main input of basically what they will get out of the whole training process.
They really pushed me to my limits, and I felt like they just wanted to get more from me and see how far I could go. And to me, that really helped me to go further, and that really brought out the drive in me during this whole camp.
One thing that stood out as well, Pedro, I think you can talk about this because you're a specialist goalkeeper coach, and you took the two boys for the first part, and we talk about intensity and stuff like that. It was hard, especially for goalkeepers, right?
Yeah.
Especially if you only have two goalkeepers in your program, because then there's lesser time to rest and you got to go again, right? But even for your sessions, Kiko, we talk about intensity, but still, the kids, the youths, they are able to enjoy themselves as well. I think that's very important, isn't it, Pedro?
Yeah, for sure. If they don't enjoy, they will lose the happiness.
And they won't come back the next day.
They won't come back.
Yeah.
They don't want to work out.
Yeah.
They start to quit.
Yeah.
And the values that we try to pass them
Yeah.
during the camp, we lose them.
Right.
So we are working out, but at the same time we must know the player or start to know the player. So how to push him, where to push him, how to maintain him in a high level training, and the confidence and everything, because it's important for them to be confident so they can continue learning, or they will keep for sure.
Nice.
I think it's really enjoyable for the boys. It's engaging, and I think they learn a lot. They get to see the first hand and listen to first hand experiences by these coaches who are experienced themselves. Yep.
The next thing I also wanted to talk about was the time when I was there and the first 3 days of the program. There were values, not only football. I think you promised this before you came. You talked about one of the camps during one of the episodes, and you said that values are going to be taught as well. And I for sure can tell you that there were values that were taught. You want to pick up on a few values that you actually taught to the kids at the camp or at the program?
Shasi, for us, we know that football for the kids it's a dream, it's a passion. For us, it's a passion. Because we like to see the players evolving, and this growing of the players is not only technical, and we know that the ball has a huge power, and the training has a huge power on the kids. So we've built let's call it a virtuous program, in which, imagine, the first day, the virtue was order.
Yeah.
So, with order, we set up tasks for the kids related to this virtue, tasks that they should do on the training, and tasks that they will bring to home. And what's very funny, on the next day, on the morning meeting, kids saying that at night they were washing the dishes. And some were cleaning up the room.
Beautiful.
Little details that the ball, the football, that football can help on their growth with simple things, like the respect the my teammate. How can I respect? By when he misses a pass, I support him instead of knocking him down.
Yeah.
So little things that all together, because not all of them will be football players, they will be doctors, they will be engineers, they will be architects, and these virtues they will take, I hope that will take on their life.
Other than the football-wise parts, I've learned that always be humble, even when losing. Even though you suffer a defeat, you cannot just walk off and say, yeah, okay, I don't like this match anymore. You must always thank your opponent for being there.
We had some talks where the coaches talked about humility and how to be humble to your opponents after a game. So we should not make fun of them. Instead, we should respect them and have a good time.
Perfectly put. And I think I saw some of that. I saw some of that happening at my home as well. Thank you very much. Especially about the food part. Suddenly he started saying that he's not going to drink anything from a can anymore. Perfect. Well done. This is something that I also like to touch on, and I think it is very, very important, especially for coaches who are watching this. And whenever I do certain coaching courses and stuff like that, the one thing that coaches want, right from the start, pass me some drills. I like to see some drills, and they want to use the drills for their team, and it can be any team, right? Under 18s, under 12, they want to use those drills, right? And I always tell them, no, it's not the drills, because your drills, and I was watching the drills at the program, you could take them, or you can see certain aspects of those drills from a YouTube video, for example. You can take them, right? And you also told me, Kiko, off air just now that you're willing to share. take my drills, but how you use it, it's a different thing altogether, right? It's the pedagogy of how you use it. Pedro, you want to talk about that? Like the drills can be the same as anyone, but it's how you do it, isn't it? How the coaches do it.
The biggest importance of the drills is not which drill is what for, and we pick up the drill and why we are making this. If for example the goalkeepers, if they cannot dive, why I should work out the aerial ball? I must, because they are a global player. They must work out everything. But in that specificity, I must work out the dive. And how to work out the dive? I can put him diving without nothing, with 10 markers, with 1 marker. You can go to the internet, to YouTube, and find 100 exercises of goalkeepers diving. But how to? Just dive. And the level is so different in the players that you must see things that the others don't see. That is the big difference between us and the others. Is what our eyes can see and the eyes of the others can see.
And again, it's all through my experience watching your drills and watching the program, right, Kiko? And I like certain things that your coaches do, and one of them was Gonzalo, and he always keeps on saying to the players, find a solution. Always find a solution. Find a solution means you find a solution. I'm not going to give you that solution. And I think it was so nice to see that, because we don't want to have a helicopter coach with a remote control at the sideline, isn't it, Kiko?
That's the most important part of our methodology, because we give tools to the players in order they understand which tools they can use it. But that's where it ends our progression. The progression of our training is for the player to be in the game situation, in 1v1 or 1v2 situation, in which they need to decide, to understand, and to play. And sometimes the biggest problem is that we as a coaches, we are giving instructions, and by giving instructions, by giving too much information, we are not giving the opportunity of the player to scan, to see, to try to understand what's happening on the game. So that's why the progression of our information, the information or the volume of the information that we provide in the training is the opposite. At the beginning, we provide a lot of information because we want the players to learn the movements, to try to understand when, where, and how. But during the training, the volume of the information is decreasing along the time, because at the end, we want the coaches to be there almost, not quiet, but just controlling, to give the opportunity to the players to have a good game awareness, to understand, to think, and to decide.
I think it's a very, very tough and great camp, because it improves on your skill, techniques, 1v1, and also shooting.
Coach Igor has helped me improve individually as he builds my confidence, giving me praises and when I do well, and giving me improvement tips on when I don't.
The program so far, the first 3 days and then now into the second day, right? How have you seen any improvements, frankly, have you seen any improvements within a 3-day period, judging from your experience and maybe citing specific examples, Pedro?
Well, I have 2 goalkeepers, one with some level that already is a goalkeeper, and another one that is the first time he tried out. With 8 years old, with a lot of personality, that helps a lot when we work out, a lot of confidence. And when he arrived there, he don't know what is a ball. He just know that wants to play. And now I can tell you, he dives, not properly, but he dives. He can dive both sides. And in the first day, he only dive on one side, and on the other one, he fall down for the same side, and the ball passes. So I think in 3 days is a huge progression for a kid like that.
Exactly.
And the other one starts from the bottom level, like making some things but not properly, and handing, catching balls, diving, flying, diving, bending the knee and dive on both sides. So the laterality is completely acquired, and that is very good. The difficulties then pass from the analytic to the game session, but that takes time.
Exactly. Kiko, any specific examples you can give in terms of improvements in the kids you saw?
Yes, the key aspects that we at the first glance that we see is the way they feel more comfortable and confident when they have the ball. They don't rush decisions. They keep the ball. They try to understand what is surrounding them, and in order to have that, it's the key thing is the ball is coming. I feel capable of having the ball, or to all the time we give this feedback to these guys information. I mean, my body says one thing and then I let my opponent think that I'm going in one direction, then I turn and change. I have a technical movement that allows me to change direction. Those little details we start to see the players not doing. I will not say, because I don't want to, I will not lie that they are doing perfectly, but they start to try. They feel capable of trying, and that's the first step. Because with that comes repetition, and with the repetition it comes the success.
Exactly.
Well, we can talk about your son. He arrived there and the right foot is to stand, and in the last session he can control the ball, pass the ball all with the right without us saying nothing for his own, and that is improvement.
For a left-footed, the left-footed is very hard. Normally, it's very hard.
There are some areas which you should use both your right foot or your left foot, and even if you use your weaker foot and it doesn't turn out what you wanted it to be, it's okay. You can use that foot more to improve on it.
Very true. It's especially for the left footer, right?
For
the right footer, you maybe in an emergency you can use a left. You know, but for left, perfectly put. Now, I think it's a little bit unfair to ask you guys, only having been here for a bit, in terms of the overall standards of the kids, but what is your view only for maybe 3 and a 1.5 program? You've been here for one program and then another half so far. So how has it been in terms of the standards? Obviously there's different levels, and then of course discipline and the characters of the kids here in Singapore.
May I, Pedro?
Yes. I can tell only about the goalkeepers.
Yes, of course.
I have one that is told me is the best level in Singapore of his age. 12 years old. In Portugal will be a medium goalkeeper. So this is the standard. A high level here in Portugal will be medium level. Of course he has something. We can work out. He can improve. He has the talent, so we can work out with that. But the level is low normally for us.
Kiko, how about you?
Regarding the players, we have seen some talented players that have something different from all the others that we have seen, and we spoke a lot among ourselves that we were curious to see those 1, 2, 3 players in our reality, because our reality, to be honest, is different. The players are more competitive, are more intense, more aggressive, and when I mean aggressive, it's not mean, but they fight for the ball. They challenge themselves every minute. Every single meter they want to win. And that is one of the differences, is the competitive side and the intensity. Of course, we've seen, just like I said before, 1 or 2 talented players that we want to see them in our reality. But I think that some training routines that the players have regarding the intensity that they need to put on the training, the way that they need to set their individual goals on the training, the way that they see that the training is different. Imagine in Portugal, the training, when the players start the training is like it's a match.
Yeah.
It's a match.
Yeah.
Every single drill is to win.
Right.
And when the coach speaks, everyone, of course, that here the players have a lot of respect, discipline. They are very polite, but they lack a little bit of intensity, of aggressiveness, the willingness to win, to compete.
Yeah.
And it makes a difference.
Well, but I can pick something very good from them and bring to Portugal. The respect,
Yes.
man.
Okay.
We say do this and they do.
Right.
So it's very hard.
It's an Asian culture, isn't it?
Yeah, I think yes. From my experience, I believe yes.
Right.
But in Portugal, it will be much harder to control the kids.
But it's not a bad thing, you know.
No, they are
Yeah.
kids.
Right.
They are
Yeah.
kids.
But you know, I like the part about you saying that, you know, what they can bring from now onwards, because the program is gone for them here in Singapore, right? But when they go on to their own training and at clubs and all, as an individual, they need to put in their intensity on their own, because now they know that, you know, and I really hope that these kids that have gone through this program with you guys understand this from just by listening to you guys even now, that's the difference, isn't it? That's the difference, that a little bit of aggression, a little bit of intensity, the focus and stuff like that, because you want to make it. It's a do or die at every single training session, because if you don't do well, the next player comes in, you know, that kind of attitude. And we also were talking about the two players, we won't mention them, but those two players that we talked about, and what is the next step, right? Like, how can they, you know, and do you guys feel that the next step should be away? Because then only they can experience what it is at that level.
And at the beginning, what we will do, we will set up a plan for them.
Yep.
For individual goals, in which they need to keep on practicing on defensive aspects, offensive aspects. Of course, that the most important is the mentality they need to keep going on,
Yeah.
to push themselves all the time to the limit.
Right.
We will try, to be honest, to give them the opportunity to go to Europe, to Portugal, to have an experience there, 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, because we feel that for their growth and for their own perception on quality, and also to learn a different football culture, it will be good to be playing with players with the same level and higher level, because it will push themselves even higher. And these two kids, they are very, very good boys with a very good training mentality and work capacity, and that's the most important. It's a key element, because if it wasn't that, we were not trying to open this opportunity for them.
I think it will be something that the kids will not forget. Yeah, they enjoy themselves, and I can see that among the boys themselves, they connect and they bond and they share, they talk about their own experience. So I think it's quite enjoyable for them.
Like this?
I just signed up for the third camp. After we only signed up for one, but after today, basically we just signed up for another camp, and that's, I think, it's very good for my son.
I enjoy this camp very much, and I feel sad that it's only 3 days short, and I wish it could be a bit longer.
Exactly. Pedro, before we leave, let me ask you a question. Can you help Singapore football with IFT?
Yeah, for sure.
For sure? Yes or no? Yes or no?
Yes or no? Yes.
Yes?
At all levels.
At all levels. I like that, because, you know, we talk about, you know, the youth levels. We've so far, you know, at least we've been talking about the lower levels, right? How about at the professional level or even the highest levels? Do you think you can help us?
Can I answer you with a question?
No.
No?
It's my podcast, my friend. Nah, please ask, don't worry. I'm just
If
kidding.
Bruno Fernandes believe in us, why the Singaporean cannot?
Exactly. It's a very good question.
Yeah.
Very good question. And I don't have to answer that, right?
Yeah, because if the professionals like Bruno and Dalo and James and Alex Telles, as we talked before, works with us and believe in us, and they know they can improve with us, so I think we can help all them.
Listen, that was the best way to answer a question, that was the best way to end this podcast and this special IFT series. This has been episode number 5. And any last words from you, Kiko? And again, I would like to say a very big thank you to you guys for being here in the studio to be talking to me, in live, so to speak, with me and having a good time as well. I enjoyed your company. And also, I would also like to say a very big thank you to IFT Asia. Silva, Dashni, Raven, and the people at IFT Asia, the invisible people, right? Like you said, absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. Any last words from you guys?
Just thank the opportunity to be here. It's all the time a pleasure to do what we love, and share with the others.
Yeah.
And as well to thank you and to congratulate for the work that you do and the passion that you have. That you have in football, and it's remarkable. And as again to thank you for being here, sharing ideas and speaking about football.
Thank you so much. I think this has been episode 5, but we can go on and on and on and talk about football, because football, it's the beautiful game. And, as we were driving here, we were talking about football. Nothing else, right? We didn't even speak about anything else. But, sadly, we have to go. This has been episode 5 of the IFT special. We will catch these guys sooner rather than later. I'll see you soon as well. This has been the Coaches Dugout podcast, a podcast for coaches. Thank you.